Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Rammer, jammer, yellow hammer, come see how we rock this. Alabama fans the best, there's no way you can top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
Welcome into The Process on this Tuesday evening. As you guys can check out The Process every Tuesday and Thursday evening right here on Touchdown Alabama's YouTube page. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube page. I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. And on this episode of The Process, I want to take a look at a couple of Tide commits who are impressing early in the 2020 high school football season. Of course, inside the state of Alabama, we are ahead of some other states when it comes to high school football, as the state of Alabama has pretty much kept their schedule intact, has not postponed their football season in any type of form. So it looks as if Tide commits inside the state are heading into the midpoint of their high school football season, heading into this upcoming weekend. So I want to take a look at a couple of Tide commits who are impressing early. But before I dive into those guys, I do want to hit you guys with those recruiting updates. As always, keep you updated on the latest in Tide football recruiting news. So with that being said, let's get the process started. Recruiting news remains on a bit of the slower side at the moment, but nonetheless, I have a couple of recruiting updates to hit you guys with. I recently listed who I think will commit to the Tide next in our forum over at touchdownalabama.com entitled Points After. Be sure to check out our message board by subscribing to touchdownalabama.com and see who I think will commit to the Tide next in the 2021 recruiting class. I also listed a couple of other guys to pay attention to as the weeks move forward, so be sure to check out that on our message board. Also got a chance to hit the road on last week, Thursday. I got an opportunity to see the Tide's 2022 4-star defensive lineman target Curtis Perry in action. Be sure to check out Perry's interview over at touchdownalabama.com. It is a subscriber only video, but you can check out the highlights over on our YouTube page free. Be sure to check out his highlights and check out that interview and pick up your subscription as always. Also, be sure to check out my game analysis of where I feel about Curtis Perry after watching him perform on Thursday night. So be sure to check out that over at touchdownalabama.com. I also got a chance to see 5-star running back Emmanuel Henderson out of Geneva County High School in Hartford, Alabama in action on Friday night, as he had a massive game, scoring 5 touchdowns. Be sure to check out that impressive performance on our YouTube page. Also check out his interview over at touchdownalabama.com, as he did wear a pair of Alabama gloves on that particular night. So be sure to check out what he had to say about the Crimson Tide after that impressive game and what he has been hearing from the Tide's coaching staff since September 1st, which was the first day the Tide's coaching staff was able to directly contact 2022 recruits. So be sure to check out all of that over at touchdownalabama.com. I am going to roll into some guys who are really impressing early on this season. The first Alabama commit who I want to talk about when it comes to recruits who are committed to the Tide who are impressing in the earlier part of this 2020 football season is Jeremiah Alexander, a 5-star linebacker out of Thompson High School in Alabaster, Alabama. We decided to bump him up to a 5-star in our own independent recruiting rankings because of the effort he put in Thompson's opening game of this season against the Oxford Yellow Jackets. And Alexander anchors an impressive defense for Thompson. When you look at their defense, is quite possibly the best defense within the state. A younger defense, which means that Alexander has to be the leader as one of the older players as a junior for the Warriors. And this is a kid who has also added on some weight heading into this season, made a bit of a transformation as he was mostly used as an edge rusher during his sophomore season for the Warriors, but now he has had to make an adjustment due to the fact that he will most likely play inside linebacker at the next level. So the Warriors are using him more in that role during this season. And he constantly switches throughout the game from inside linebacker in outside linebacker, basically as an edge rusher for the Warriors. And I was pretty impressed with the way he did that, anchoring that defense, being a leader before the whistle blows and also during the plays, as he was able to make some pretty impressive plays during that particular game. And he has continued to do that, has some pretty impressive games throughout this 2020 high school football season, as the Warriors are currently undefeated and still looks as if they are definitely one of the favorites to win the 7A state championship within the state, with Alexander anchoring that defense. So his highlights may not jump out in terms of big plays, in terms of plays that are just catch your eyes, but I think what he is doing and the strides he is making is pretty impressive for this prospect who is committed to the Tide in the 2022 recruiting class. Moving over to Robert Woodyard, the 4-star linebacker who is committed to the Tide in the 2022 recruiting class, as the Tide currently has commitments from 2 of the top linebackers in the nation, definitely 2 of the top linebackers inside the state for the 2022 recruiting class. Looking at Woodyard and Alexander, and Woodyard has made some plays that have jumped out on film, just looking at his film through the first 4 games for Williamson High School in Mobile, Alabama. And when you look at Woodyard, he is playing that traditional inside linebacker role most of the time, and he has been able to come up with a couple of interceptions, showing off his athleticism from that inside linebacker position. Happened to take one of those interceptions back for a pick 6, showing that he is a playmaker on the defensive side of the football. But that is not the only thing that Woodyard has done that has really impressed me in terms of his big time plays. I've really liked how comfortable and how confident he looks as a linebacker defending the pass. I know I talk about this a lot. If you have been following me a while, I like young high school linebackers who are comfortable defending against the pass, showing that they are fluid in the hip, showing that they are comfortable in pass coverage. I really like that, especially with the way the football game is changing today. A lot of teams, especially at the Division I college football level, want to throw the football around. You want to have an inside linebacker who is comfortable being an extra defensive back when you are defending against a quarterback who likes to throw the football around. And I think Robert Woodyard really adds that. A kid who also is not afraid to come down and lower some big hits as well. So he has been pretty impressive for Williamson High School so far. Another Tide commit in this 2022 recruiting class. I am going to stay in the Mobile area for this last guy. When you look at Deonte Lawson, the 4-star linebacker out of Mobile Christian School, this kid who's showing off his all-around athleticism for the Mobile Christian Leopards during his senior season, as they are using him on both sides of the football, similar to what they did during his junior season, where he helped lead the Leopards to a 3A state championship appearance. Unfortunately, they were unable to win a state championship, but they are trying to reach that goal once again. And when you look at Lawson, they are going to depend on him for several different reasons. On the defensive side of the football, to be an instinctive inside linebacker, a guy who can float to the football, a guy who can play sideline to sideline, a guy who can defend the pass as well, especially with that 6'3" frame, make it hard to throw the ball over his head with that athleticism, but also as an offensive threat, as a wide receiver, and as a wildcat quarterback, a guy who has added on some weight and some muscle heading into this season, and he looks as if he runs with a bit more power for his senior season for Mobile Christian School, which is something that's also pretty impressive. But I think the Leopards are really developing Lawson's leadership skills as well during his senior season, as I got an opportunity to spend some time at Mobile Christian School and spend some time around Deonte Lawson and the Leopards, and you can tell that they were going to depend on his leadership throughout this season, and I think they are definitely doing that so far, as they are off to a good start trying to reach a 4A state championship this season. So Lawson is really impressing. During his first game of the football season, he was able to record more than 20 tackles on the defensive side of the football, scored the game-winning touchdown as an offensive player. So I think that just shows how athletic this kid is, showing that the Leopards are going to depend on him for more than one reason. So Deonte Lawson is really impressing. And when you look at what I talked about today, of course, I talked about 3 guys inside the state of Alabama, because when you look at tied commits who are committed in other states, Alabama is the only state that has kept their high school football season intact for the most part in terms of no postponement. So the state of Alabama is basically really the only state when it comes to guys who are committed to the Tide who have 4 to 5 games under their belt. So I wanted to talk about those guys as their seasons are kind of hitting the midway point when it comes to this upcoming weekend. So I wanted to talk about those guys today on the process. Of course, as more states continue to start their football season or continue their high school football season for 2020, we will talk more about those guys and what we are seeing and what we are hearing about those particular Alabama commits. That will do it for this episode of The Process. Be sure to hit that subscribe button before you leave so you can stay updated on all of our content. As always, then head over to touchdownalabama.com, pick up that subscription, read all of our subscriber-only articles, all of our subscriber-only content with your subscription to touchdownalabama.com. Then go to your Apple App Store or your Google App Store to download the Touchdown Alabama app so you can receive notifications when breaking news happens, as well as check out our content at touchdownalabama.com through our mobile app. So be sure to download the Touchdown Alabama app. As always, I am Justin Smith, the scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine.